Hi everyone, welcome to yet another session on AI. So we are going to talk about AI inference engine today. So before we deep dive, we need to understand what actually the inference engine is. So inference engine is something what we have the app server, for example, for the web application. Similarly, when we have AI models, we deploy it on the server and we need to make it run on some platform. That platform is called inference engine. So we are going to talk about the inference engine that is something specific for the edge devices. So the topic is XeqTorch. So XeqTorch is a project from PyTorch itself. It's an open source project, and we see Meta and IBM are one of the prominent contributors to same. So this is something that makes an architecture feasible, wherein we say we need to run the inference or we need to run an AI application on the edge device itself. The crux here is we make it feasible by using this inference engine, that we need not to run our model across the cloud. We need not to send any data. So there is no data egress. So everything is confined within the device where you install your application that's going to run on the inference engine. So think of it in the use cases where we don't have an access for the internet, or we have a liability from the perspective of data compliance. Think of any defense related application where we don't have a provision to send it over the network. So because that could be a policy compliance breach basically. And also in the remote field work, for example in the oil refinery where we don't have internet, or maybe the remote areas we don't have a network for the internet, we don't have Wi-Fi per se. So this would be a very ideal use case for such scenarios, though we can extrapolate it for different domains. But what we are going to talk about at a high level, what exactly the XeqTorch brings in. So the XeqTorch basically brings us the four things. Primarily, it gives us a native support for the PyTorch model export. Means whatever is the model you are training on, you can directly map the competition graph directly to the backend accelerator. So you won't need any man in the middle. You don't need any intermediate engine. You don't need a Python for running the inference on the system itself or on the device. Secondly, before moving to the second thing, if you see on the slide here, it's something like whatever model we use, be it Phi3 or Whisper per se, you can simply use the method exposed by the XeqTorch, that's called torch.export, and you can simply need to have an artifact of type.pt. That's it. You just need to have an artifact pt that you can simply put it on the inference engine and it will be used there itself. Coming to the next one, also the model footprint is something that we can gain a lot in this. The thing is, we have a provision to quantize it to as good as to the format 4 info format, and also using the static memory planning that ensure that we doesn't see any stall while running the inference because of the garbage collection being done. And above all, because of the quantization, we are able to quantize the model as, for example, the Phi3 as good as in a space of 2 GB that can easily fit into your mobile itself. So the commodity Android phone, for example, can be easily used as a device, and you will have your own ChatGPT running with your own confined sovereign data within the phone, and no data egress, so no compromise on the data, no data sending outside the device. Basically, we are confining it to the boundaries and the jurisdiction of your device itself. Thirdly, the XeqTorch come with the backend delegation. For example, for the Qualcomm STP is one, and even for any fallback mechanism, if you think about Vulkan or the CPU baseline, in both the cases you can simply use the same .pt file, so you need not to change anything. Primarily, it's more like a platform where you just bring the PT and you have to just install it, or you can say deploy it, that the inference engine, that's an XeqTorch, will be running, be it for inferencing or for training. And similarly, it gives a provision of on-device LoRa training. That's very particular advantage of the XeqTorch, means you can run the model and train the model within the device without any data ingress. So data privacy is not a liability, and you can do the inferencing and training all at once. These are the four high-level advantages of the XeqTorch. Thanks for being there. Thank you.